Welcome back. Well, it's been incredibly hot in the Western Cape. If you're in Cape Town, I don't need to tell you that. There's some reports, I don't know if this is true, there's some reports saying it was the hottest or third hottest place on Earth. Either way, the temperatures were over 40 degrees Celsius, which is, frankly, very hot. It can also be very dangerous for many, many people. Surprise Mhlongo is a forecaster of the South African Weather Service. Surprise, good afternoon to you. Firstly, what made it so hot? I mean, what was happening in the atmosphere, what was happening in the weather systems around the Western Cape to make it as hot as it was?
Well, good day to you, to Stephen, and good day to the viewers as well. Well, it's true, we've experienced extremely hot temperatures here in Cape Town over the past few days, and generally, like you've said, throughout the Western Cape and the Northern province as a whole. These are conditions that normally happen when there's a weather system that's called a high pressure that's found in the upper levels of the atmosphere. So what does this upper high does is it traps all the warmer air that comes from the tropics into the lower levels of the atmosphere. And as a result of that, this warmer air stays relatively at the same geographical area for a longer period of time, and therefore we experience warmer than usual temperatures like the past few days.
So basically, so much hot air gets trapped for so long, it just gets hotter and hotter. Is that the right way to understand it?
Well, there are still some places that will remain fairly hot, but in general, when we look at the pattern, temperatures will cool relatively compared to the previous days. But yeah, taking into consideration the season that we are in now, temperatures will still be relatively hot.
Sure. I mean, there have been some places, some reports, and you know what the internet's like, Surprise. They say that, you know, the Western Cape was the third hottest place in the planet. Is that really true?
Well, I am not in a position of confirming that. Those are kind of statistics and information that we have to approach very carefully, Stephen. It's the kind of information that one would have to approach carefully with a good scientific analysis and facts with that. But of course, there are some temperatures that occurred in the Western Cape, the Northern Cape province, that are potentially the records when we look at the temperatures in this province, not when we look at the whole world in general.
I mean, I suppose we're looking at temperatures that head, you know, once you get to 45, you really are looking at a very hot temperature, aren't you?
That's true. We saw places like Redeling Age, places like Cape Royal that could have reached potentially those kind of high maximums. However, I need to say to you, Stephen, that these temperatures are still under verification. We can only confirm in the next few days if these were really the temperatures that occurred on the particular day.
And it's a reminder to people you can't trust the temperature gauge in your car. That doesn't actually mean anything because it's just over a hot tar road.
That's very correct. The temperatures are influenced by so many things, and including the environment that you are in can have an influence on the readings in your instrument. So it's very important to go through verification of the data before we call it how it is.
So when it gets this hot, the main concern is, could this happen again? Could we have weather like this more often in the Western Cape? Could this lead to weather like this in other parts of the country? I know Orange River sometimes has very, very hot temperatures. Are you expecting more temperatures like this in the future?
Well, like I've said, Stephen, the pattern now from here on, temperatures will be cooler than it was in the previous days. But of course, we are still in summer. Temperatures will be relatively hotter than the other seasons. But yeah, we cannot argue that the past few days event was one of a kind in the South African region.
Surprise Mhlongo, thank you. A forecaster at South African Weather Services. I really do appreciate the time. Thank you.